Good morning, TikTok. So, I was scrolling through TikTok and I saw this video that this woman did. And she was a white woman. And she was talking about what's going on in America right now with inflation and how nobody can afford life. And what she said was absolutely right on. It was righteous. But her anger wasn't. Her anger wasn't righteous. I'm seeing a lot of videos like this by white people who are expressing their anger over the state of the economy. And your anger isn't righteous. And let me explain to you why your anger isn't righteous. You don't have the right to be angry about not being able to afford quality of life in America because literally you allowed yourselves to be used to get the rest of us here, yourselves included. Communities of color, particularly black people, have been trying to tell you what the setup was for years. We tried to tell you how this was not a race war, but a class war, and that racism was the distraction. But y'all didn't listen. Y'all doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down on your racism and hatred toward black people and other communities of color because you didn't want to see us have anything, particularly quality of life in this nation. You literally allowed the elites, the true classist people, the one percenters, to give you racism to use against the rest of us while they picked your pockets clean. Who was that? Eisenhower that said, if you give the lowliest of white men somebody to look down on, you can pick his pockets clean. He told you, people been telling y'all for years. You all were warned back in the 80s that the middle class was going to disappear. You literally voted yourselves right into poverty, right into oppression, right along with the rest of us. And you were so busy being hateful and racist, you didn't even see it. That's the gag. Insurance companies don't care about color. The only color that they care about is green. They don't want to pay out for nobody. But you didn't see this and you didn't understand this because you didn't want black people to have health care. Same thing with social programs. You all didn't want black people on welfare, even though welfare was literally created to assist white women and children. And so you voted on all of this legislation that reduces those kinds of programs. And now you need those kinds of programs. You wanted black people's food stamps to be cut or for them to not have them. And now you don't have them. Now your refrigerator is empty and you're wondering how it got empty. It got empty because you voted against yourself. You didn't want black and brown people to thrive financially. You wanted us to have no money, no assets. And now look, you have no money, no assets. You can't afford your mortgage. You can't afford daycare. You can't afford vacations. You can't afford quality of life. But because you were so busy being racist, you didn't see it coming. You voted against us having a livable wage. And now look, you don't have a livable wage. You can't afford life. You're standing at the register scratching your head wondering how you got here. Unable to afford a pack of bacon. Unable to afford your rent. Struggling to feed your 4 kids. Having to move to the hood because the suburbs cost too much. You voted for all of this. You wanted all of this. You campaigned for all of this. You lobbied for all of this. And now you getting fucked over with the rest of us. Because skin color mattered that much to you. The color of my skin mattered more to you than self-preservation. Everything you did to me, already done to you.
Hey fam, Black Inquisitor here. This video here is about shining a light on racism. If you don't like that, keep scrolling. If you're enjoying the video, however, please give this video a like and follow me for more content. Let's talk about Esau. Honestly, they are the sole reason we're suffering to the extent that we are today. Of course, we can blame ourselves because ultimately it was our sin that led us here in the first place, but Esau forwarded our destruction. The Bible says in Obadiah 1:10-11, "For thy violence against thy brother Jacob's shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou wast as one of them." Verse 12. "But thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger, Neither shouldest thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress. Thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity. Yea, thou shouldest not have looked on their affliction in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. However, the way things are today, trust me, he did it. He did all of it. Esau is complaining about the collapsing economy, collapsing housing market, complaining about World War III and potential nuclear destruction. He's complaining about rising gas prices, increasing homelessness, rampant crime, and everything else. In recent votes, Esau has been straight up against universal health care, social programs, and financial equality. They've been all for globalization and sectionalism, you know? On top of that, they be voting for more police in the hood, but ain't showing love for quality schools or after-school programs. That's putting mad strain on the economy. Man, when it comes to politics, these Edomites are against socialism and all about capitalism and trickle-down economics. They vote for strict criminal laws like Big Brother watching over us. I could go on, y'all. These Edomites love supporting the deregulation of financial markets, causing that 0-8 crisis. They vote against raising the minimum wage, which is why we're stuck with wage stagnation, fam. And check this out, they be backing the war on drugs, leading to mass incarceration and messing up our communities. They ain't showing love for public education funding, so our schools suffer, man. These same Edomites voted for them 3 strikes laws, making our prisons overcrowded and breaking up families. And they be voting against environmental regulations, straight up speeding up climate change. They wanted them trade agreements like NAFTA, which led to job losses in manufacturing, while opposing campaign finance reform, letting corporations have too much influence over our politics. They voted for privatizing essential services, making things more expensive and lower in quality. And they voted against affordable housing, leaving people out on the streets. Edomites opposed renewable energy policies, keeping us dependent on fossil fuels. And they voted for military interventions overseas, causing debt and loss of life. They ain't showing love for gun control, leading to more gun violence. They be cutting social welfare programs, making poverty and inequality worse. And they be hating on labor unions, weakening worker rights, man. Esau voted for policies that favor corporate interests over regular folks, widening the wealth gap. And they be voting against policies that address systemic racism, perpetuating inequality. They vote for tax cuts for the wealthy, making income inequality even worse. And you know what? All this mess they in right now? They brought it on themselves when they tried to destroy us. They ended up destroying themselves, man. Straight up. I can't feel sorry for them. Us so-called black folks will survive because we had to deal with these economic hurdles for decades. Esau never had to experience what we went through like that, so they're all panicking. I laughed because Esau tried so hard to destroy us through his policies, only to turn around and hurt himself through those very same policies. Ha ha ha. And as the Israelites shall inherit the promises of Abraham, the Bible says in Genesis 12:3, and I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed.